What if initially your spouse accepted Christ, but later decided he wants no part of God or the church? What do you do? That is a great question. The Bible does give some counsel to that. Are you looking
I'm looking
that
it up right now.
in
Yep.
1 Corinthians? What you do is you love your spouse well to the best of your ability. You don't want to shame them or nag them. You want to love them well. You don't want to be a self-righteous Christian. You want to be a follower of Jesus, which means you give and you serve. It sounds like this is from a woman. You respect your husband to the best of your ability. And I would really invite you to commit to pray for them. And then I would encourage you on special days, like Christmas Eve, just about anybody will come to church on Christmas Eve. You say, can we do Christmas Eve? Can we do Easter? Some of those moments. Because as you're honoring and loving them, usually, if they love you in return, they'll honor and love you too. And so they'll do some of those kinds of things. Anybody that's in marriage, if you love your spouse, you do things you really don't want to do. Can I get a witness? All right, if you're not married, marriage is doing a whole bunch of crap you really don't want to do, okay? That's what it means to love somebody. And so usually what happens is if you're loving your spouse well, they'll respond to that, and then you pray for them, and in those moments you just ask the Holy Spirit to work. And you can continue to be persevering in that. That's a great question. That's also a very hard situation.
Yeah, the Bible teaches not to be unequally yoked with a non-believer, and that term yoked, that's referring to oxen. You'd have that piece of wood that would go over the next. Think about Jesus putting his arm around you. That's you being yoked with Jesus. You're walking in line. And so the Bible, Paul says, don't be unequally yoked with an unbeliever, meaning don't enter into a marriage relationship if you're a follower of Jesus and they're not, because those two oxen are going to want to go two different directions. And so you want to be wise with who you choose as that spouse. This is a unique situation because this is, we were yoked together, and now that oxen wants to go this direction. And again, to go back to that previous verse, what God has joined together, let no man separate, that you are yoked together. That is a really difficult situation. Paul actually addresses it in 1 Corinthians 7, and he talks about there were some who were coming to faith in Jesus, but their spouse hadn't come to faith. And so they were like, should we just divorce our spouse? Should we start over? Should we find a believer and marry them? And he's saying, no, remain married to that person. Again, you've made a vow, you made a commitment. You want to honor marriage. You want to honor God in that. And so don't divorce because their faith has gone a different direction. You want to stay together. You want to continue to follow Jesus, to Chad's point, and you want to model that faith and pray that God will restore and redeem their hearts.
Yeah, flip side, if they walk away from faith and walk away from you, you're free.
Yeah.
To marry another. That was their decision. That's a heavy, difficult question. Thank you for your vulnerability in asking that.